What do you think are the biggest mistakes home service business owners might be making on their website? What should home service business owners be doing to optimize their website and not just make it look pretty, but also turn it into a website that gets traffic and actual leads and serves your underlying business goals?
The first thing that I always go back to is you have to have a good solution for tracking. If you don't know how you're modifying, tweaking, changing things and how that's affecting the results, then you can't really attribute anything that you're doing back to the changes that you've made. So the first thing that I would recommend to any business owner, whether they're actively doing the marketing themselves, they're working with someone else, is get some kind of tracking solution in place. At the bare minimum, you could use something like Google Analytics. It is less and less user-friendly, and it will continue to be so most likely as time goes on. But there's a ton of videos on YouTube that you can use to set them up. Basically, the principle is you just add a tracking tag, and then you can use Google Analytics as well as Search Console, and you can kind of look at the data that's going on behind the scenes. So once you have traffic in place, one of the biggest things that I see as a mover of websites in general is the content that's on the page. Google's got a lot of things they can look at. One of the main things that they can look at that you can influence easily just by looking at it is the content on the page, and that is headers. So those main topics at the top of the page, those typically we look at those as an H1 header, and ideally you have one. Again, none of these are hard and fast rules. I've seen websites with 0 H1s that rank. I've seen websites with 6 H1s that rank. But that overarching topic, that's your H1 tag. And then subtopics are typically what we would call synonyms or similar words or inverse words. So those are things in your header. So if your page is about, pressure washing, some of your other headers should include things like pressure washer company, pressure washing reviews, pressure washing testimonials. Different variations basically of your main topic of that page. And then the body content should reflect that as well. So that's the biggest thing that you can do as a small business owner is make sure the page content makes sense. Make sure that you do what I would call an overlap analysis before you start building out your website pages, or if you've already built them out, do an overlap analysis and make sure you don't have two pages that are competing for the same term. Because what you as a business owner look at as a single service or separate services doesn't always align with what Google looks at. So it's kind of like a give and take. So website structure and then making sure you have content on the pages is my bread and butter. Like that's the foundational stuff. If you do that right and then build your brand, eventually you will rank.